What's going on, guys? Another long overdue posting. I feel like I'm like one video every 4 or 5 months, and I always say I'm gonna get better and I don't, so I apologize for that. But we got 3 sleds here working on. You guys have seen the mod and the M8 before. This is a 17 SX that I just picked up this year. Got it for pretty cheap for how clean it is. Did a couple things to it, rode it for 5 minutes, crashed into a culvert, and then I completely had to put a new like bulkhead in it and front end and all that, and then took it out for a ride for a few hours and then blew it up. So gonna be doing a top end on this thing soon, but I mean, it's a nice sled for what it is. I've just kind of had problems so far. Quick update. I also got my black panels for it, black belly pans. I'm not a fan of the gray, so I have it completely blacked out right now. Black console and hood and windshield too. Only thing I have left to get rid of all the gray is the seat, because I do not like the gray on the Arctic Cats. The mod is finally running better again. Hopefully he'll climb this spring with it, and just some practice days at ERX. As some of you know, I converted it to a 137 inch with a Skidoo RS track. But I was running rail extensions on it, and I'm not a fan of that. So I got some of the newer Cat longer rails, so I don't have to have extensions. But those, the hole here is 2 inches back. So I'm waiting on getting the newer Cat arm here, and then I'll have the skid back in. Also powder coated in purple to match the rest of the purple powder coat. So that's almost done. But what I'm doing on this video, because I haven't seen any other people really make a video on this. Some Speedworks made the lightweight handlebar control kit. Now they discontinued it for these. So I'm kind of doing my own from scratch. And I've seen people do install videos of the Speedworks handlebar kit, but not from scratch, and we're going to be attempting that. Also, update on the M8, it's pretty much the same build as last year, but I found a set of these shocks for a really good deal, and yeah, full Kashima now. So my thoughts is, as many of you know, Arctic Cat wiring is kind of crap. Big and blocky on the handlebars, and you always hit your knuckles into stuff, and it looks goofy, and if you run an aftermarket set of bars, and then put that on there, it still just looks goofy. I mean, even the Snow Pro bars, like, you know, I kind of got a little bit of a mess right here. It's a mod race sled, so that's not that big of a deal, but I wanted to get the short, new style Nux risers, and these are the new Turcotte bars. These are small diameter grips, but I honestly just wrapped some tape around the hand warmers to thicken them up a little. And they're still a little loose on there, but these are normal size grips. I don't use grip glue, I like the wire ties. Kind of like this. So I will be wire tying them, and then they'll be just fine. The biggest issue I ran into, sorry, this is kind of going to be more of a talking video, is the throttle block that goes right here. Massive, big, bulky. Every time I jump, I swear I hit my knuckles on that somehow. Shut the sled off. And this is just super huge block for 2 buttons. Ridiculous to me. Now I wanted to run my Snowcross throttle block. A lot cleaner, cleans up the bars nice. However, I don't know if you can see in there or not, but the throttle cable on these is, it's like a T at the end where it goes into the plastic lever. And on these, you still can't probably see in there. It's right there. Right there. It's a ball. So I'm like, well, that's obviously not going to work. And I thought I was going to have to replace the whole throttle cable on this. Come to find out, the diameter of the levers is the same. So that was a simple fix. I took the Snowcross billet throttle block and just put the stock M8000 throttle on it. So that works perfectly. Initially, too, why I started doing this is I had bogging issues last year in Saratoga, Wyoming, and my throttle safety switch was going bad. and I literally had to, like how throttles have a little play in them, the only way the sled would start and run is if I like held up on it, which is really annoying. Thankfully, it was at the end of the last day this happened. But on the cats, they have an open circuit, so you can run. You can cut the wire, you can unplug it. I just unplugged it. You can run with no throttle safety switch, but it is recommended that you have a tether. And then also for the kill switch, besides having a nicer throttle block now from the Snowcross sled, I'm running another Snowcross kill switch, just like these sleds. So actually, it's on the back side of the bars like I have it, and up actually shuts the sled off. So that'll be way better. And this is all that'll be on the right side. On the left side, this looks like what would be obviously a hot start button on a Snowcross sled, but that's actually my momentary button for reverse. So I'll have brake, reverse, kill switch, and throttle, and that's the only thing that'll be on the handlebars. And then I have a bar pad too. Obviously, we'll cover this up, and all the wiring. Obviously, Cat has this wonderful crappy taped crap plastic wire loom that, just like the Skidoos, I have some of the braided wire loom. I'm going to take all this apart when I'm hooking up the wires here and run nice fancy braided loom on it. That'll clean it all up. As far as the right side goes, if you're doing this, obviously make sure you label stuff. I got kill switch, throttle safety, that will stay unplugged. H is hand warmer. R is reverse, so that will get routed over to the other side, to that button. And there should be a T on there. Yeah, T is thumb warmer. So now it's just, and then over here, again, super big and blocky. I have a headlight delete from Mountain Fit hoods. So like my high low beam switch will just stay unplugged. That'll no longer be used. But you have your hand and thumb warmers here, which your hand and thumb warmers is all of these wires. It's all into one plug that goes into there. So for that reason, I printed off the whole wiring diagram. And like I said, I'm gonna route reverse over to this side, get all these plugged in, rewire loom everything. I'm gonna figure out with that wiring schematic what all of these hand and thumb warmers are, at least the high lows. And where my kill switch is here, I'm gonna run a circular on-off-on switch, probably right here, where kind of like the Snow Pro 500s that have a toggle switch that down is low, middle is off, and high is high for hand warmers. I'm gonna run one of those there. So all of these hand warmer functions will then be down there. And then again, when I'm done with everything, throttle cable, a couple of these will probably actually be tucked underneath the handlebar pad, so they'll be in there, you know, zip tie like there and there. Clean it up, wire loom it all, and we will hopefully have a nicer set of aftermarket handlebars for this sled. All right, so we're a little farther now, starting to figure things out. I cut all of this out of there. I figured out that where this plugged into the block for the hand warmer thumb warmer switch, yellow is the 12 volt supply from the voltage regulator, and then you got your 3 wires coming out for high and low. But on the new hand warmers, they're a 3 wire, they're high, low, and ground. So it's going to sound confusing, but basically, like, these should almost be, well, they shouldn't be a 4 wire. I shouldn't say that. But my switch that I have, even though it's off in the middle, on up top, well, it's 3 prongs. I was going to have, you know, ground in the middle and then high off of one and low off the other. But that's not going to work because I had 4 wires coming into the switches on the stock block. So it would be, you know, power supplying it, ground, and then your high and low signal wires that go to the warmers. So I'm basically gonna just wire the mountain sled like a Snowcross sled, where it's just on, off for both hand warmers and the thumb warmer. Just call that good. Because I don't want to get a different switch and run more wiring and change a whole bunch of stuff. And I'll just keep it simple. I'm always like, if my hands are cold, I turn them on. If my hands are warm, I turn it off anyways. So that's going to work for this thing. I also took out, because I have the headlight delete, I took out, that was the high beam, low beam, supply power there. So now pretty much, well, I can even take this out too, because I don't even have a taillight anymore. But now everything's cut back, and I basically just have my 2 power wires and my ground and my kill switch wire, because I cut the throttle safety switch out. So now, yeah, it's going to be no throttle safety switch, SX throttle block, kill switch, reverse, and somewhere on the console will be the hand and thumb warmer. That'll just go to everything. So, like, I'll probably tie the thumb warmer in somewhere around here. Then I got this hand warmer, and I'll just kind of Y them down, and I'll make all my connections down here. So I have minimal wiring kind of up top. I'll squeeze some of it over the bar pad, wire loom it, and it's obviously a mess right now, but it should look really clean and hopefully work. Alright, so ignore what I said about the snowcross wiring. I realized that this isn't a lighted switch, so power goes into the middle, and then high is up and low is down. So I can actually run my high and lows. Like I said, ignore the last part of how I was going to wire it. It's still kind of a mess right now, but so far, like, braided loom all the way down. This runs over because of where my switch is. I got my 3 plugins. Got high, low. Like I said, yellow is the supply power wire to the switch. And literally everything runs up this. And just the hand warmers, I teed across. I don't have my kill switch on yet. My switch was broken, so I got a new one. But my kill switch will come across too, so everything will come across, and I have basically gonna have a piece of braided loom across the bars, and then a piece of braided loom going down. So it's gonna kind of make a T shape of nice braided loom that has everything in it. And the kill switch is gonna be the same button as this. Just, I had one, but it was a bad switch, so. Still looks like a mess, but we're getting there. Everything's soldered, everything's heat shrinked, everything's plugged in. I was able to start the sled, everything works. So yeah. So this is the bad switch I had. You can see one of the wires pulled out. But finally got her done. Here's the final product. Snowcross throttle block. Literally nothing on the bars besides throttle, kill switch, brake and reverse. High and low down there. Nice braided loom across into a T going down. Still have yet to put my bar pad on. But yeah, I fired up the sled and high works, low works, thumb warmer works, kill switch works, reverse works. My tether stopped working. Actually, you get a tether kit. For some reason they do this. It's 2 wires into 4 wires into this plug back into 2 wires. Goofiest thing ever, but basically this plug was bad. So I cut this out and I had another one of these 2-wire plugs. I just soldered in. And now my tether works again, which, yeah, there's our wonderful Minnesota governor. So obviously without a throttle safety switch, now you want to run a tether. But it's a 2017 Cat. It's not a show sled by any means, but I just wanted to clean up the bars, make everything nicer, have individual switches and just less stuff on the bars. I mean, the race sleds obviously aren't as nice as the consumer sleds, but like, that's stock Arctic Cat wiring. Mountain sled has this plastic crappy braided loom with crappy tape. Like, that's junk. I go in here to the skidoos. Nice braided loom coming down. On the other side, brake line, nice braided loom coming down. Obviously these aren't a T like I did, but like, BRP does a pretty nice job. Like I said, my main goal of doing this was to just get rid of these two blocks when I put the aftermarket bars on, because literally having two big massive blocks is unnecessary in my opinion. And the throttles or the kill switch here, I always hit my knuckles on when I'm jumping the sled. Also, I don't have headlights anymore, so like don't need the high beam switch. Unnecessary to have two different handlebar thumb warmer switches. So only two switches on the bars, everything braided nice. And yeah, that's pretty much how to rewire your whole wiring harness and clean up your bars on an Arctic Cat. Only got a couple days here left until we're going out to Togety on a family trip with some immediate family and cousins. All I have left on the M8000 is literally just put my skis back on, put my side panels on, and things should be ready to go for another season.